So I got an interesting question of the week this week. I've never been asked this question before, so it's a good opportunity for me to try something new. So we'll look at answering the question in this form. The question goes, last week I took a first aid course, but it was first aid for mental health. So it covered how to see signs, symptoms, how to help people, etc. with mental health issues. One of the things it covered was eating disorders. I was curious as to how you feel about what the differences are between regularly fasting for a day or longer and anorexia. If someone told me they were just fasting for the day, I probably wouldn't think twice about it and probably actually tell them good job. It seems that you often, as part of your health regime, recommend fasting longer. I'm curious as to know all the reasons as to how and why it's different. Obviously, you're educated to know the proper way to fast, but for someone who doesn't know everything, is there anything that really sticks out to help an outsider spot if it's concerning? I suppose if it's a problem. I didn't think to ask during class, so I thought I would submit it to your Q&A. Okay, so that's clearly a great question. The first thing I will say is, yes, some of my clients do longer fasts. I do longer fasts. But one thing I make clear to everybody when I start working with every single one of my clients, I say, by the way, I must stress that I do not use fasting for fat loss. Because we know human tendencies and we know humans, especially women, will abuse certain tools. So someone will, quote, fast on a Monday and then binge or eat whatever they like on a Tuesday, and then they'll fast on a Wednesday and then binge on a Thursday. And this is a cycle, and this would obviously be more of a tendency towards a kind of bulimic traits. But at the end of the day, this is not fasting. This is the person just kidding themselves. You cannot do that. And that's why I always stress and emphasize with people that I only use fasting for rebalancing hormones and for healing and regeneration purposes. Those are why I use fasting. And now I know there are benefits for fat burning with fasting, but I only will go into that when I feel there's a need to. Otherwise, that's where we are looking at having a good nutritional protocol ready. So when you look at anorexia, there's obviously a real concern about nutrition there. A lot of malnutrition, a lot of not eating enough, a lot of not being focused on providing your body with the nutrients it needs for cellular energy and functioning and optimal regeneration and all of that good stuff. Whereas if someone is fasting for longer, especially under the guidance of a teacher like myself, then we are balancing out how they're fasting when they fast, and I still allow my clients to have some sort of nutrition during fasting. And then when they do eat, their nutrition has to be optimal. It needs to be timed in the correct way so their body will use it optimally. We do food combinations. So all of this is what separates how we fast and longer fasts from anorexia. Because when we do eat, we're providing our body with a lot of nutrition. And then even at that, I do allow my clients, or even encourage my clients, to have some sort of nutritional or medicinal foods when they're fasting that help optimize the benefits of fasting. So that comes down to the nutrition aspect of things. Are you meeting all nutritional requirements? Are you eating enough when you are eating? And part of the question was, is there a way to notice if someone is stepping more into the lines of starving themselves, and how could you spot if there's a concern? The first things I would look at is I can tell if my clients are stressed. Now, this would be where a practitioner like yourself, where you're doing first aid for mental health per se, you would hopefully contract or reach out to a health professional that knows a lot more about nutrition and how to look at certain symptoms and recognize what might be going on. But with nutritional deficiencies, and you see this very clearly with anorexia, but also with people who don't eat a nutritionally balanced template, you'll see hair loss, you'll see brittle nails, you'll see dry skin, you'll see their skin will look pasty and grey. They'll have not only no energy physically, but their cells will not be generating energy, so they won't be firing up their skin cells, so they won't look energized. So there's trends like that we can look at to see that, okay, this may be a danger zone. But I'll also pick up on traits of what clients say. If I see them say to me, and most of my clients are pretty honest with me, they'll tell me, oh, I'm fasting today and then I cheated last night, but I'm just going to fast longer today. And then if I see a trend, I'll stop them in their tracks and I'll say, no more fasting. I want you to do this to get yourself back on track. Then I'll also see tendencies with their sleep. If there's sleep issues, maybe they're not eating enough. If they're showing signs of adrenal exhaustion, maybe they're not eating enough as well. So there are the visual complaints that we can see with the pale, grey, pasty skin, the dull lack of hair, brittle nails. There's that aspect of things, even damaged teeth, even bad breath, bowel issues. But then there's the other issues that you can't physically see, like words. I can pick up on words of what people say. I can pick up on trends, but then I'll also be able to pick up on if there's signals of adrenal exhaustion or metabolic issues where the cells are not getting what they need. Something like this takes a long time to recognize. It's a lot of training and experience. So I definitely, for you, wouldn't expect that you would know how to recognize this, especially just after finishing a course. So that's where it would be wise to reach out to someone for support and say, hey, I've been talking to this girl. Here's her tendencies. I'm worried that she may have an eating disorder. What do you think? And I'm sure any health practitioner would be happy to help you. But really looking at those physical things and then questioning a lot, what are you eating when you're eating? That's important. Of course, you know about fairy dust, you know about dense nutrition, so you know things to look out for that a person should be consuming compared to the next person who may have done that course beside you and hasn't worked with me before in regards to nutrition. So I hope that answers your question and helps everyone listening. If there's any more questions, post them below and I will get to them.